Hello and welcome back to this series. In this video, we are going to be working with the fraction module. So let's dive in and start working with the fraction module. In our previous video, we already imported the fraction module. So how we work with it is that we create an instance of this fraction. So you see this fraction that is written in capital letter. What we are going to do is that we create a variable and associate it with that fraction. So that variable, I'm going to call it fraction in a short form, and I'm going to set it to the capital letter fraction, and I'll open a parenthesis and close it, and I'm going to pass in two numbers, so maybe 5 and 2. So if I print this value now, Python is going to give us this output as 5/2. So let's run it, and now we see we have 5/2. So fraction has converted these two numbers to a fraction, right? So if I want a floating value to be converted to a fraction, I can also pass it in there. So something like 5/2, we have 2.5. So if I want this to be converted to a fraction, I will save and run this again. Now again we have 5/2. So I'm going to comment out the other two print statements. Now another thing is that we can pass in a string here and call it 2.5. And Python understands very well that you're trying to convert that string to a fraction. Again, we have 5/2. So you can work with two numbers. You can pass two numbers as your argument, you can pass your float as your argument, and then you can also pass in a string as an argument. So if I have 5/2 here and run again, we have 5/2, right? So now, so what we can also do for this fraction value is that we can check for the numerator and the denominator. So if I say fraction dot numerator, I will go for numerator first, and we know what a numerator is. And if I run this, it is going to give me just 5. And if I go for the denominator, I just pass in denominator here, and I run, is going to give me 2. So it doesn't matter whether you are passing in a string at this point, or you're passing in the two values like 5 and 2 as your argument. So if you still run this, it's going to give you the same thing, right? So, and I am going to create three different fractions, right? Or two different so I'm going to so now I'm going to create three different fractions, and I'll perform the normal operations on them. So the normal arithmetic operations that are done for other numerical values on them, like addition, subtraction, and division. So you know that when you want to add a fraction or subtract a fraction and divide the fraction, what you normally do is to find the LCM, and you go for this value, and then you go for the other value, and then you probably add or subtract or do all that thing that you are doing. So that is how it works exactly. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to create another fraction 2, and I'm going to add 2 here, and I'll assign it to another instance of fraction. And this time around, I'm going to use a floating point of maybe 3.5. So remember that it will simply convert this to the fraction version of this. And I'm going to create another one, fraction 3, and I'll set it to the one that has a string, and I'll pass in a string of 7.5. So, and I'm going to clear the terminal. So if I want to perform one or more operation on these three different fractions, I want to print the three different fractions here. So I'm going to print fraction 2, and I'll print fraction 3. So I'm going to save and run. So we have 5/2, 7/2, and 15/2. So these are the three different fractions. So assuming we want to do something like 5 over 2 plus 7 over 2 plus 15 over 2, we can actually perform this operation. So by just referencing these three different fractions. So what what I can do now is to set another variable of the addition that I want to perform. So I'm going to do something like addition is going to be fraction 2 plus fraction 3. So for now, I'm going to comment this and I'll print the values again. So if the fraction 2 is 7 over 2, right? So I'm going to uncomment this. So, and I'm going to add it to fraction 3. So what we are adding together is 7 over 2 plus 15 over 2. So if I print this addition and save, now we have 11. So because we'll have something like the LCM is 2. So we know how this um, addition of fractions work. So now we can do that for subtraction, and I'm just going to subtract and print. So this time around we have -4. So you can solve it with your normal mathematical method. So when you want to multiply, you can do that. And this time around we have 505 over 4, and we can divide. So you know that when you are dividing a fraction, the other one will be inversed and the division will now take place. So everything is possible with fraction, with this fraction method. So if you want to work with fraction directly, you can just call this fraction method, and you can use it by passing the two values. You can use float, or you just work with the string variable. So this is it for the fraction method. I will see you in the next video.